It's a beautiful October day here at Armstrong Redwoods near Guerneville, California in Sonoma County. In this video, I'm starting and completing an acrylic plein air painting of inside the forest with a nice little road going through it. It's a warm day outside, but in the shade here amongst these giant redwoods, it's very comfortable and cool, so I'm excited to get painting. Hello, love. Welcome. My name is Jennifer Laurel Keller. I'm an acrylic and mixed media artist and instructor, and this is the Wild at Art Show. If you're excited about today's painting session at Armstrong Redwoods, hit the like button and let's get into it. All right, so I have a toned canvas with burnt sienna, and I forgot to start my video right away when I started painting, but I've got more burnt sienna on my brush, and I am sketching in the shapes of these trees. Now, there are a lot of trees in front of me, and for the sake of this small 11 by 14 canvas, I cannot possibly add each tree that's right in front of me. So I will have to pick and choose the trees that are my focal points and the ones that are the supporting cast, but I do have to simplify the scene and reduce the amount of trees so that it's not too busy. And this painting does get a little bit busy because there's so much going on, but I do have to simplify it just a bit. Okay, now I have a sky blue on my brush. This is white and Payne's gray. And I brought in some branches, and I'm just going to paint around them so that the warmth of the burnt sienna shows through. And in the little gaps in between these little swatches of paint, it's going to look like branches are coming through in front of the sky. Even where I didn't draw in a branch, I can add a little gap and just make it seem like the branches are reaching over in between the trees. And this was such a relaxing day in the forest. It was so quiet, and it just kind of seemed like I was relaxing. I was getting very calm. I did have a lot of traffic coming by. I was right at a point on the trail where the road crosses the trail. So I was getting car traffic and foot traffic, but it was all good. I really do like smiling at people, being friendly. People are so nice, especially when they're out in nature. So now I am bringing in some shadows. I have a purple mixture on my brush. This is cadmium red and Payne's gray. And I'm popping those in on the tree trunks where there are shadows on the trunks. And this is going to give me a base for painting over with the color of the bark. So I'm texturizing just a bit, but this is really just a base for shadow.
Oh, wow.
Sure.
Very pretty.
A lot of people worry about bothering me, and I don't mind.
Oh, well, I probably should have worried.
No, I'm happy to
Admire
chat.
your
I can
work.
talk and paint at the same time.
Yeah, wow, that's beautiful. What a wonderful venue
Thanks.
for you.
Just kind of getting started.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
I just love talking to people when they're out on the trail. Everyone is in such a good mood. So if you like talking about painting as well, hit the subscribe button because I'll be doing a lot more plein air painting coming up this fall. We are staying in a small rental now that we've moved, so I don't have room for a studio in this rental. And so my plan is to just get out and plein air paint as much as possible. I used to spend so much time in the forest as a kid. During the summers, I went to a camp that was on a farm, and my tent would often be inside a redwood forest. So this kind of brought back a lot of memories for me. It was like my living room. We would cook over the campfire. We would collect firewood. We would shower in these wooden stalls where we would have to heat the water with a fire. and there was no ceiling, so you'd be taking a shower and just looking up at the canopy of the redwoods. It's really magical. So this felt very comfortable and familiar to me, and it just brought back a lot of memories. So I'm just adding more shadow colors in the greenery of the forest now. Some of it's overlapping some of the trees. And I just want to pop in a nice shadow so that I can come over the top with more of the light that's coming through the trees. And that light changes so much. You'll see. I'm still just concentrating on those shadows and allowing some of the warmth of the burnt sienna and the sky color to come through. And also carrying that green down onto the forest floor, and I'm cropping the bottom of the trees to give them more of a base. There was this beautiful ground cover, like a clover, that was like a blanket over the forest floor, and it was so beautiful. And then that rich redwood dirt along the side of the road is also just really lovely as a color. And now I'm bringing in a like a mid-tone blue-green, especially for up at the top, because the trees become a little bit more subdued at the very top. Okay, now it's time for midtones and highlights. So I'm adding more white and more warmth to my paint now. And I have this yellow-green where I can pick up where the light is shining through the canopy into the forest and hitting the inside of the forest. And that foliage, that greenery just lights up. And so this isn't even as light as I'm going to go. This is more of a mid-tone. And you'll see how I gradually bring this up in light. And it was funny because I was set up right next to this historic tree. It's 310 feet tall, 1,300 years old.
I dropped a key off to my brother's and I swear it's 150 feet.
Longer than a football field.
Wow.
So I would get reactions like that. And it was so tall that I actually, you can't even see the top.
What do you paint?
Same. Forests, rivers,
Oh, wow.
trees, and the cabins.
Do you ever show?
Nature. No,
Just for fun?
just for fun.
Yeah.
I give it to my family on Christmas.
Very
And
relaxing.
they love it.
All right, so I brought in more light onto my brush, more yellow, more white into that green mixture. And then bringing it up into the canopy as well. The light was coming in from behind me and kind of to the side to the left. So the left side of the trees were getting more light. And then the light was hitting the road, and it was so bright. And through the camera, you can't see as much of the dappling on the road as I could see. But it did take me a few passes to get that highlight on the road just right. And that's what I love about acrylic paint, is that I can come through and make adjustments, add, subtract. It dries so quickly, and I can just keep layering until I get that good feeling that it's finished. So it's just stretching along the road and up these trees and really hitting the canopy inside of the forest quite a bit. So right now it's almost a white on my brush. And I think it just has a little bit of yellow. And then I added a bit more orange to that mix. You don't see my hand going back down to the palette as much because I edited a lot of those moments out of the video. But I am mixing kind of off camera. and just trying to get some texture into the trees. But again, things were changing so quickly that I added and subtracted quite a bit in this painting because it was moving so quickly. I was just chasing the light, maybe a little bit too much. And I want to lighten up the background a little bit as well so that these trees can stand out. And so the darker some trees are, the better it is to have a lighter background. And I'm just building still. So right now things are kind of in a mid-tone phase, but I do try and bring in nice shadows, dark darks, and light lights so that I get that lovely contrast. You can see the more dark I add, the more the light just pops. And then just for a moment, the light was right on my canvas. And that just goes to show how much the light was changing in the forest. There's so many obstacles that the light is going around. Now I'm bringing back more of the branches, and they go downward from the tree. So there were hundreds of branches if you look up. So I'm just trying to simplify this, but also give the impression of a lot of bramble and branchy texture up in the treetops. And that's with a purple, dark purple. I love using purple as my shadow. I rarely use black as a color right out of the tube or mix with it. Okay, so now I'm adding more highlights, even still. Little dots for branches, but I don't want to paint every individual leaf or needle from the redwoods. These little dots are representing more of a cluster of needles on these redwoods, clumps of grass and dirt. It's all simplified. And that's impressionistic. Okay, bringing more dirt into the side of the road and contouring the road just a bit. It is kind of flat, but the dirt slopes up into the forest, and I want to give that impression of the movement of the topography of the ground. Okay, bringing more warmth into the trees now. They are redwoods after all, and my eye can see more of that red tone than the camera is showing. Okay, and now I've added a little bit more of a pink to my brush, and that's really fun. It's a little bit unexpected.
That's lovely.
Thanks. I'm still adding more highlights. All the speckles.
All the light.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the light, that changes as well.
It changes a lot.
Yeah.
Almost every 10 minutes, it's a different story.
Yeah.
Do you try to finish it all today, or do you take a picture?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, acrylic dries quickly, so you can just layer and layer.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Oh,
forgiving.
great. Lovely.
No, that really is lovely.
So like that highlight on the side of that tree, I'm trying to
Oh, that's
get
what you're
it
trying
the
to
right.
get. Yeah.
Right now I'm working on that, and so I'm just adding a whole lot of white,
Oh, great.
and then
I know a lot of artists don't paint outside anymore. They take pictures and go home to the studio. It's so
I
cool
like
to be here. Yeah.
I like being out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I live in a beautiful place.
You've really captured that just
Yeah.
in few
There's few
strokes. It's like magic.
Yeah.
What a
That's
wonderful
lovely.
day. How
And yes, just a few brush strokes with a highlight can change the painting and give it more form. Light equals form. And it doesn't take much with acrylic paint.
Hello.
This way.
And by the way, my name is Sinette. Okay.
There, now we can see you.
Now you can save.
Hello, my name's Sohan. S-O-H-A-N.
Oh my gosh,
Start a YouTube channel.
you're made for the camera.
Sohan was so active and excited.
Boy, that was only what, an hour ago. You just starting the trees.
Yeah, what time is it?
What time is it? 3:15.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's been about an hour and a half.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Thanks.
Great job.
And since a few people were passing behind my camera and talking to the camera, my painting went out of focus. You can see a little bit of what I'm doing right now, but I do cut a lot of the painting process. So let's take a moment to step back and see what's missing in this piece. You've always got to step back. I always stress that so much. And what I'm seeing right now, the way the light is in the forest, it's about 4 o'clock, is that this needs more shadow to contrast all of those highlights. And I bring back a little bit of texture in the trees, but for the most part, I want just a hint more of shadow. And that'll be my focal point. Those 2 trees that I just added to, those are the main trees in this painting. And now I'm going to sign it. Sometimes I sign it and then I notice more to do, but I think I'm done here. So if you want more inspiration, I'm going to leave a recommended video and a playlist for you here. I hope you enjoyed this. Happy creating and much love.